so much of it is procedural, right? And we're shown these people performing their functions.
Yeah.
And for the most part, performing them very well. But it also seemed like part of the job was to find the human being behind the functionary, that there are, in fact, human beings who are making these decisions and performing their duties and taking their responsibilities seriously. But they're humans, and they have families, and they drink coffee, and they watch baseball, and they're just like you and me.
These are the circumstances. In little more than 7 minutes, we will lose the city of Chicago. I can't tell you why, or why we're seeing North Korea, Russia, China, Pakistan, and even Iran raising their alerts and mobilizing their forces across air, land, and sea. Perhaps, as Mr. Barrington suggested earlier, they are simply and innocently responding to our posture. It is also possible that they've seen our homeland is about to absorb a catastrophic blow, and they are readying to take advantage of that. Or this is all part of a phased, coordinated assault with far worse to come. I simply don't know. What I do know is this: if we do not take steps to neutralize our enemies now, we will lose our window to do so.
Welcome to the Actor's Side. Today, we've got an actor, a playwright, a screenwriter, so many things, and it's all one person. Welcome, Tracy Letts.
Thanks very much.
And you are all those things, incredibly. He won the Pulitzer Prize and a Tony Award for his very first Broadway play of August Osage County.
True.
Later turned into an Academy Award-nominated film as well. Then you won a Tony Award for your first Broadway role as an actor in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
That's true, too.
You are a man of first when it comes to...
I suppose so.
That's pretty cool, though, right?
It is cool, yeah.
I mean, to have that kind of recognition, from Broadway right off the bat.
I'm very lucky and deeply grateful.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a writer first over an actor, or an actor and a writer, or how do you look at yourself?
I've done them both for such a long time, and one informs the other, and whichever one I'm doing, the other one seems like the better way to go, right? It's like when I'm acting, I say, oh man, if only I could just be writing this and I wouldn't have to be out here learning these lines and be in front of the camera. And then when I'm writing, I think, oh, if I could only just be an actor and not responsible for all this. So
when last I came upon you, it was actually as a member of the audience, and you were on stage in something you'd written called The Minutes in New York, which I saw on a Sunday afternoon in New York, and then raced to the airport to go to the Cannes Film Festival.
Nice.
I always stop in New York and see whatever Broadway shows I can fill in, and I saw that one that year, and man, is that needs to be made into a movie. I know a lot of yours have been, but it's so timely now. What you did with that. It's about a city council meeting and all the division within.
Right. Unfortunately, it just becomes more timely with each passing day, hasn't it? I know. Some of these things you wish that the future you're kind of foretelling wouldn't come true. And unfortunately, it just seems to be becoming more true.
It sort of wasn't when you wrote it in the way that it is now. What made you zero in on that?
Well, I wrote it before Donald Trump was elected president, so it wasn't necessarily about Republicans or Democrats. It did concern itself with the way we conduct our government, which is the way we conduct ourselves. We have a representational government, or we're supposed to. And so, the truth is that we rely on government for a lot of things. I mean, do you like roads? Do you like street lights? Do you like these things in your life?
Yeah, I just drove over a pothole on my way here, and I was cursing the government.
See, somebody's got to go out and fix that. And they got to decide where they're going to spend the money. Are they going to spend the money to fix that, or are they going to spend it elsewhere? So just about how we conduct our politics. And it gets into a question more so of how we view our history and who exactly is preserving our real history. who gets to make those decisions?
Yeah, it's so pertinent in so many ways. And art can do, that's one thing that you are able to do as a writer, as an actor, is to open our eyes to things we may get battered on television and all things happening in the news, but art can really make a difference, I think.
Well, it's why I do it. I mean, ultimately, it's why I do it. And hopefully, if we're doing our jobs well, that's the job, right? Hold the mirror up. That's the gig.
Yeah, totally. And right now you're in Catherine Bigelow's, a House of Dynamite, which, man, I wrote my review out of Venice. I wasn't in Venice, but I saw it in L.A. and kind of like with two people in a room, and I walked out of there and I go like, oh my God, it's not technically a horror film, but it's like the scariest movie I've seen all year.
It's pretty scary. It will give you nightmares.
Yeah. And I think I pointed out that in this massive cast of everything, I thought you shined.
Oh, thanks so much.
Really believable as his name is Anthony Brady, General Anthony Brady, and he runs a strategic command there.
Yeah.
So you're in the second, it's a 3-part kind of story.
Right.
From the same, different points of view of the same events.
Yeah.
Happening when a missile comes toward a Midwestern city, but we don't know from where.
Right.
And so you're playing this general, and it was so realistic to me. He's on the phone desperately trying to get them to let him go for this.
Yeah.
And you see the bureaucracy and the problems, and the clock is ticking every 18 minutes you've got here.
Yeah.
Did you have generals there? Did you have advisors who were looking at your every move there to make sure, or did she have them on the set there for actors?
I did, absolutely. We had a couple of technical advisors on the set. They're actually in the movie. They're in costume. They're background players. So you see them. They're literally sitting beside me. And I could turn to them before every shot, before every moment, and say, is this right? Is this what I would do now? What kind of latitude do I have here? And what is the job? What is my objective? And those guys, they were such impressive fellows. They've spent most of their career in Stratcom, so they know that world very well. And oh man, that just to have that reference material right there with me all day, every day that we were shooting the thing was invaluable.
That makes a difference. Well, you're a writer, obviously, and so other acting opportunities may give you a chance to improv or go in a way that may not be in the script. Did you add stuff or?
Well, the gig is on A House of Dynamite. So much of it is procedural, right? And we're shown these people performing their functions.
Yeah.
And for the most part, performing them very well. But it also seemed like part of the job was to find the human being behind the functionary, that there are, in fact, human beings who are making these decisions and performing their duties and taking their responsibilities seriously. But they're humans, and they have families, and they drink coffee, and they watch baseball, and they're just like you and me.
Right.
I think it's really a valuable entry point for people who are watching the movie to be able to see that, oh, they're not just machines, and this isn't just procedure, but also it's a reminder of just what's at stake, right?
Yeah.
To consider a cataclysm that would essentially end civilization means to lose all of that, to lose all of the families or your love of baseball or coffee or whatever whatever those quotidian things are that really make life worth living.
Yeah.
And we're gambling with losing all of it, which I think is really what Catherine's driving at here.
And it's crazy to gamble with something like this. Mankind has done this, they've created something that's a monster. It's almost like Frankenstein, which is another movie that Netflix has this year as well. But it's kind of the same thing when your creation gets out of control and you can't control it anymore.
We built a very complex machine, and if all the parts work well, the world is destroyed. So perhaps it's time to reconsider the machinists.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a deterrent, first of all. How is Catherine Bigelow to work with? Because she's done this, I believe, as a warning. I think she said that.
Mhm.
It's not so much a movie to her, as it is something she's doing for humanity here.
Yeah.
To put out there. And it gets back to what I was talking about, art having meaning beyond control. And I know that she's using this in that way.
She's fantastic. She's such a calm, centered presence. She knows exactly what she wants. She's deeply professional. Her methods are very gentle. She surrounds herself with the best people. The direction from Catherine is always comes in the form of a question. What are we doing here? What's this moment about? What do you suppose? Why do you suppose we're doing that? What are we saying here? She invites collaboration from all of these extraordinary people around her. I mean, and it's interesting too, right? Because we think of Catherine as such a muscular filmmaker.
Right.
She's such a pure filmmaker in the way that she uses the camera and the way she cuts, the way she delivers information. There's such a muscularity to it. But personally, she's just the most generous and gentle collaborator.
That's so cool. What's it like acting on a phone and doing this kind of thing? That looks to me like one of the hardest things to do. But how does that work?
It's pretty challenging. I mean, other than Bingo, who was opposite me as my second in command, all of the people I'm acting with are on screens.
Yeah.
Now, thank God I didn't have to act opposite a bunch of green screens. The truth is that I was on a sound stage, and then 20 feet away was another set with Jared Harris in the Secretary of Defense's office. Another 20 feet away was somebody sitting at a different. So I was actually acting with live people just on screens, which is helpful. That we didn't have a lot of ADs and second ADs reading lines opposite me. I mean, for the most part, I was dealing with the real actors. But still, it is something to consider, because in the real life situation, whoever is running Stratcom, that's how they're going to be communicating with people. That is how they're going to talk to the president. And the president may, not everybody's just sitting at battle stations when that 18-minute countdown starts, right? Some people are having a colonoscopy, and some people are doing a photo op, and some people are late to work.
The president is at a basketball game.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah. Just let you know how you can't wait to collect everybody to start making those decisions, right?
No.
To start immediately.
And you do find that this missile, where they don't know where it's coming from, so it's a real roll of the dice to do, particularly what you're asking, is headed towards Chicago.
Yeah.
And I asked you before we started if you still lived in Chicago, because, of course, famously, you were with Steppenwolf, the great theater company, and so many plays that you've written and acted in and done over the years have started there. It's Chicago here. That makes it personal, doesn't it?
Sure it does. I still have a lot of friends in Chicago. I mean, I still consider myself a Chicagoan. I'm kind of a displaced Chicagoan. I've lived there my whole adult life, and so I love it. And so, yeah, it does make it personal. I think the whole movie kind of makes it personal for all of us. There is a kind of creeping anger. You start to feel like, how dare you? How dare we put ourselves in this position that we risk this?
Yeah. And we've certainly had these warnings before. There was a time where this was common in the film business. Dr. Strangelove, Failsafe were both the same year, 1964. Stanley Kramer, who always zeroed in on social issues and things of real life importance, did On the Beach, which I quote all the time, because the end of that movie, spoiler alert, but you should have seen this, is just, they're waiting in Australia for the last radiation cloud to come over, and all of humanity is finally wiped out after this nuclear war. But we see it from the point of view of the last people on Earth, essentially.
Yeah.
And then they're gone, and all you see blowing in the wind is a banner in the town that says, "There is still time, brother."
Yeah. And since then, in the 1980s, we had a wave of these with Testament, The Day After.
The Day After on TV.
Threads. The Day After especially really spurred a large public conversation about this, right? I mean, we were doing Nightline episodes about, the nuclear crisis, and it seemed like it was really part of the public discourse in a way that it's kind of not been for maybe 40 years or so. And I think Catherine's really hoping that this movie starts that conversation again.
I think so, because now you see these leaders, where you thought it was over, we're fine, and now they just throw it around like, it's a knife fight.
Well, consider that this movie kind of shows all of those functions working rather well, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of doing their jobs well. Everybody's doing everything right, and it presumes a real level of responsibility of the people who are sitting these jobs. And as I say, these guys at Stratcom, they were great. They're really serious about their jobs, and I really appreciated that about them. But you start to get to other levels of the government once you move out of the military, and it's like, just how responsible are the people who are making these decisions? I mean, it depends on who's in office.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately, it doesn't matter who it is. The question is, are you comfortable
Yeah.
with one person having the sole authority to make this decision, and maybe only having 2 minutes to make that decision?
Yeah. So fortunately, we have such smart people running the government now.
Isn't it a relief?
I mean, they renamed this Department of Defense the Department of War. I thought that was ominous right there,
Sure.
too. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're bringing up one person. They need to change these things. And, fail-safe was, of course, that there's supposedly a fail-safe system in here. So we'll see. But this movie got me talking, man. I mean, really, I was just like walked out of that. Do you look at a script and say, okay, I want to do this because it's a great role, or because it's something I want to be a part of for other reasons?
Well, first of all, Catherine Bigelow calls and says, "I'd like you to consider being in my movie." You just say, where do I sign up? I mean, I'm in. But then once I got the script and I realized what Catherine's ambition was with the movie, I think it's an important story to tell. And as an actor, you read it and you say, how can I help? How can I help tell the story? How can I help Catherine see her vision through to the end? And, I think Catherine would hope that people come out of the movie theater doing just what you talk about, that they come out and they want to talk about it. It's like, she wants people to consider it. She wants people to ask questions about it. Myself, personally, I hope people get a little angry about it. I hope people, right? Because we've seen that the public can, in fact, should, in fact, impact what our governments do. They are supposed to be representative. And so if you don't like the system that this movie portrays, it's within your power to start to change it.
It's really cool. And you're working a lot as an actor now, I've noticed, by the way. The Lowdown.
Yeah.
It's a very well-reviewed show that just started on FX with
It's great.
Ethan
Great
Hawke.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that fun to do?
Oh, it's such great fun. Sterling Harjo, the show's creator and showrunner, is just he's a brilliant guy. And I had loved Reservation Dogs so much that when I heard he was doing a show in Tulsa, which is where I'm from, I heard he was doing a show there and with Ethan, a detective show, and I got on the phone with Sterling and said, I'll do anything. I'll help any way I can. I love what he's up to, and I love his way of working, and I just wanted to be a part of it. And in fact, there are a lot of Okies on that show who did the same thing. Tim Blake Nelson, Jeannie Triplehorn, Paul Sparks. There's a lot of Okies in that show who love Sterling.
Oklahoma True, huh?
Yeah.
Did it shoot in Oklahoma?
I did. Shot in Tulsa.
Wow. Oh, that's fun. And you were born there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of going home. We're traveling through all of your hometowns here. Chicago, Tulsa. Maybe this is how you decide to be, what you want to act in. The Paper is another thing that you're in now, too.
Yeah, that was great fun. That kind of came up out of the blue. But again, you ask, how do I decide what are the things I want to work on? I mean, The Paper is about something I think is important. The fact that it's a half-hour comedy, but it's a half-hour comedy that is about something larger, right? And it's about just journalism and just the plight of the modern newspaper and where we are in terms of that. So I wanted to be a part of it. And those guys are great and funny and really
They're
creative.
the guys that did The Office.
Yeah.
So this is a mockumentary kind of style thing.
Yeah.
But it is, the newspapers are just going away. I mean, you should see the Los Angeles Times. It's like a whisper of what it used to be. And, it's online. I used to work there. And they didn't even know how to do the digital thing. And I would go into those offices occasionally, and they were like ghost towns then. And that was 15 years ago.
Yeah. And the character I play in the paper, and we see him in flashbacks, he was the editor of the paper, editor-in-chief of the paper at a time when it was thriving and there were hundreds of reporters working at any given time. A nice counterpoint to what it is now.
Kind of like the front page.
Yeah, exactly.
Those days. I was looking at a lot of other things people know you from. They'll see your face. Do you get recognized a lot as an actor? Because Winning Time, you're a coach, McKinney, in that. Homeland, you were Andrew Lockhart. Divorce, you were the con guy there.
Yeah.
All of those kind of things.
Yeah, I guess I've become one of those that guys, right?
That guy.
Yeah, people spot me in an airport and they come up and they say, "What do I know you from?"
Right.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what you're watching.
Maybe Seinfeld. You played counter guy.
I did. I was in the Festivus episode of Seinfeld. It was great fun. The last season, yeah.
I always ask people that I find were in Seinfeld what that was like, because that was just like.
It was a great gig. I mean, it was. It's short. It's 5 days of work. As I recall, we shot it during Thanksgiving, so we didn't actually even have a studio audience. We just shot it all on the soundstage over the Thanksgiving break. But I had a great time on that show. My God, that thing rolls back around every year, and people remember the Festivus, and I always get a lot of people going, "Hey, wait a minute, it's that guy."
Yeah. That's one of the famous episodes, actually. Right. Yeah. It's so cool to, be in that. But you do so much. And I was looking at the movies that you wrote from your plays. That doesn't always happen to a playwright.
Right.
But you got to work with the late, great William Friedkin.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice on Bug and on the other
Killer Joe.
Killer Joe.
Yeah.
That was it. And he directed film versions of both of those, which you wrote the screenplays for. How'd that come about in that collaboration?
Oh man, Billy became a dear friend of mine. I loved working with him. I loved him madly. He was a great guy, and he had seen Bug off Broadway with Michael Shannon and Shannon Cochran in that production, and he called me. I was doing a play at the time, and he called me, and he's just out of the blue, "This is William Friedkin." I thought it was a crank call. I didn't believe it, but he had seen the show and he really liked it, and he just wanted to tell me how much I liked it, and I thanked him for the call. And the next day he called back and he said, "I want to make a movie of it. Will you come to LA and we'll talk about it?" So as soon as I finished the run of that play, I came out to Los Angeles and met with Billy, and he was just so lovely and generous with me from the first, with me and my family. And, I had not had great experiences in the film business to that point in my life. Billy was kind of the first guy who said, "Here's what I'm going to do," and then did it.
Wow.
Did exactly what he said he was going to do. Didn't promise things he couldn't deliver, but delivered on the things he promised. And I just really, I really loved him. Those movies, the experience of seeing a play in a theater versus seeing a film is just so different. I really consider those William Friedkin movies more than my plays are one thing, and yet I really love that a couple of the last films in Billy's filmography are things he did of mine. It's really special to me.
I know, really, that is special,
Yeah.
indeed. And it's great that he let you alone in doing the screenplays, and true to that, which is so rare.
So rare.
What films were you not happy with?
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that earlier in my career, I was having a hard time getting anything going as a playwright who was at the time writing things like Killer Joe and Bug, and then I would go and have a meeting at Disney, and they would talk to me about rewriting a baseball comedy. I was like, "Have you read my plays? Have you said, are you aware of who you're talking to?" I even had a guy at Disney. I remember this very clearly. He said to me, "Let me show you something." And he showed me a list of names he had. And he said, "These are all writers. And I have to see all these people because they're on my list of names." I was like, so in other words, I'm probably not going to rewrite the baseball comedy. We're just getting to know each other,
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff about the movie business I didn't know and understand at that time.
Yeah. Well, August Osage County,
Yeah.
that was.
I had a great experience with John. He was great. And John Wells,
Yeah.
who directed the film.
Yep.
A great experience with him. Not a great experience with Harvey, but I'm not the first.
Weinstein, yes. Well, no.
Yeah.
There's a long, long list talking about list
Right.
of Harvey Scissorhands, as they used to call him.
Right.
Getting in there after the thing's done and changing it.
Right.
Sometimes we're good.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, there was a lot of that, but that was obviously, it got nominated for a few Academy Awards. I remember actually having lunch with John Wells just as he was doing it.
Right.
He was so excited.
Yeah, I know. It was a really lovely cast of people. I loved all of them so much. I didn't spend a lot of time on that thing. I only saw them all at the first read through. We gathered and sat around a table to read through the script. And there's Meryl Streep, and there's Julia Roberts, and there's George Clooney was also producing the movie. So it was it was wild. But the person I was nervous about was Sam Shepard, who was in the movie.
Right.
As a playwright, to have Sam Shepard sitting there had great meaning for me.
Because he's the same thing as you, an actor and a playwright.
That's right.
And he knows from where it comes from.
There was a moment after we did the read through where, it was a moment where Sam said some nice things to me and about me, and it meant the world to me. Had he said something else, had he gone a different direction with it, it would have devastated me. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah, I was so excited because I do a screening series. I still do. In fact, I'm showing House of Dynamite next week.
Nice.
But PBS sponsors it, so let's hope it continues since they're gutting PBS. But
Right.
I digress. But I do the screening series, and I did August Osage County. And Meryl Streep decided, they said, she's going to come and do your Q&A. She's going to come and do my Q&A. She loves this movie. And so she's giving up some other stuff. And that was actually Netflix. And or something at that time. And she came, and it just blew these people away. You know, when she walked out, I remember my intro. I said 17 Oscar nominations at the time.
Yeah.
And I said to her, nobody's ever going to catch you. They're never going to catch you. You're like that horse secretariat running, and everything. And she said, Pete, are you comparing me to a horse? True story.
Right.
But I looked at that cast. We had Margot Martindale and all these people on that panel, and I go like, wow, what a great cast to come together on a adaptation of a Broadway hit, which Hollywood doesn't seem interested in doing much anymore.
That's right. I just think the world of Meryl. She's, everybody knows what an extraordinary actress she is. Obviously, the work speaks for itself, but she's also, she's a hard worker, man. I've seen it. She works hard at her craft. Nothing about what she does is sort of, she's not blessed. It's not God-given. It's because she works hard at what she does, and she always has. And so hats off to Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Is there one of your plays you think would make a great film that you just can't?
We just opened my play, Mary Page Marlowe, at the Old Vic in London. It's about 10 years old. It started at Steppenwolf, and then we did a production a couple of years later at Second Stage. And it just opened at the Old Vic with Susan Sarandon and I'm forgetting Andrea Riseborough.
Oh,
Andrea Riseborough. They're both extraordinary. And, just seeing it a couple of nights ago, I was like, I think this could make a film. So, yeah.
And you probably could get it financed with them.
Probably. We'll see.
Because I don't see as much of that going on now in these studios that pretty soon there's going to be one big Hollywood studio and everything. And, all they want to do is, blockbuster.
I know it's going that direction. And yet every year there's new great stuff. But right, somehow people find a way to get their work out in the world.
Yeah, it's called the Oscars. They want one movie. Every studio wants one so they can get tickets to the Oscars, and it's all about ego. I don't know if those movies would get made if it wasn't for that.
Well, the truth is, we don't. There is a whole sort of class of kind of middle class of movie that we used to get pretty regularly, and we don't get it so much anymore.
No, for playwrights in particular in the 50s, and I watch all this stuff. I just watched the other night some I'd never seen called Hot Spell with Shirley Booth and Shirley MacLaine in the 50s and Anthony Quinn, and I go like, whoa. And it's based on the play and it was often these smaller kind of plays would still get studio productions, right? And it just doesn't seem like they're as interested, but that's the kind of stuff I would love to see again,
This business, man, it changes It's just constantly changing, constantly evolving, sometimes scary. It's a weird, scary time in the
Yeah,
entertainment
yeah.
business.
Well, one of the great ones that got made, though, still one of my all-time favorites is Mike Nichols' very first film, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf,
Yeah.
which has been done many times on stage. Before we go, I just want to ask you, when you did that role of George, for which you won a Tony, do you have in your mind all the actors that have done it before, or I want to do it completely different, I don't want to look at anything? How do you do that?
I remember very well sitting down on the first day of rehearsal of the play, and such a great thing that at Steppenwolf we treat a new play with the reverence you would normally give an old play, and hopefully we treat an old play with the kind of freshness that you would give any new play. And so you start on page one and you say, who is this guy and what does he want and
Yeah.
what is this relationship about? You have to kind of scrape the barnacles off. Amy Morton, who's a great and very gifted stage actress, maybe the best stage actress I've ever seen in my life, and she was playing Martha in that production. And it's like, well, uh, she's not. She's not a monster. She's not a Greek figure. She is, in fact, the daughter of a small college president, married to a professor at the college who's not thriving, and she has no job of her own. Those are the kinds of things you start with, and you start to build a character from there. So very quickly, you leave the world of Burton and Taylor behind.
Right.
You just start to explore the play.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so cool. Well, it's so much fun to talk to you always, and
Same here, Pete.
so much to talk about. Thank you for joining us on the Actors Side, Tracy Letts.
My pleasure. Thank you.